Today we are reviewing a TV show, which is, I guess, a first for us, but not really a first for me. This is part of my ongoing review of Mandalorian series, which I started over on one of my other channels. It's in my Star Wars playlist, along with all the Star Wars movies that I've reviewed. Well, the saga, episodes 1 through 9, as well as Book of Boba Fett, Andor, all that good stuff. If you're a Star Wars fan, feel free to check out the Star Wars playlist. And this is where you'll find the third season review, along with the second season and first season reviews that I've done for The Mandalorian. But this time around, I have someone riding with me in the Naboo Starfighter sitting on my lap.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Would you rather sit on my lap in the cockpit or behind me in the part where Grogu sits, or R5?
No, I was just sitting in your lap. You can scoot over.
All right, so we're going to start off with a quick non-spoiler review, and then we'll recap, well, not the entire series, not everything that happened in the season, but our own personal highlights of things we'd like to talk about, the good parts, the bad parts, the filler.
Yeah.
But overall, your impressions of Season 3 of Mandalorian.
It was okay. It was okay. I think there was action.
So there's a lot of action.
There's a lot of action, but then there's also some things that are like, do we really have to watch this?
Yeah.
Yeah, some little filler
yeah.
here and there. And, like, for example, I guess the one where they free the ship of the...
Spoiler. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, sorry.
Anyways, so you thought it was okay, action, filler.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty
basically,
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that it was not a bad season overall, but it was probably the weakest of the 3 seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
But if you're a Mandalorian fan, you'll probably enjoy it, just like we did. It sucks because I think it's been 2 years since season 2. So we've had to wait like 2 years.
Yeah.
For this.
I don't really remember when it came out.
Yeah, I think according to my playlist,
yeah,
it was, when I reviewed it, let me scroll up.
It was like 2020 or something? 2021?
It was 2 years ago when I did the season 2 review.
Okay.
So 2 years have passed since the second season of Mandalorian. So to wait 2 years after the cliffhanger of Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah, but
yeah,
the thing is, we also saw 2 more episodes with Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in spoilers as well, because there's definitely things about this season that don't necessarily feel Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
Just like there was obviously 2 episodes of Boba Fett that felt like episodes stripped away from the 3rd season of Mandalorian.
Right, basically.
But overall, how would you rate this season of Mandalorian before we go into spoilers, compared with 1 and 2 so far?
I guess if we're seeing from a scale of 1 to 10, I would have to say 7. Maybe 6.
I will probably go 6. I'm going to go 6 on my rating.
Yeah, I mean, it was just highs and lows, but nothing that will say, wow, this was amazing.
It doesn't live up to the season finale of season 2.
Oh, no.
So that's the problem, is that, but it's a good season finale, but it's not great, like how much it moved you with the season 2 finale of Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah, that was the best season.
Yeah. So overall, yeah, Mandalorian season 3, it's okay. It's okay. Not great. It's definitely not the best of the series so far.
It's just good. Yeah. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. It's just good.
Yeah, and it feels very distracting at times.
Yeah, so I guess if you're a Star Wars fan, I mean, it's not the worst thing ever. You can watch it and you'll be like, okay, well, that was all right.
Well, I think that Star Wars fans that are Mandalorian fans are obviously going to watch the show. And if you did, feel free and let us know below in the comment section your honest opinions about Season 3 of Mandalorian. And I think we can go ahead and go into spoilers.
Sure. Let's go. You start.
Okay, so like we were talking about, there are things that really make this show not feel like The Mandalorian. For one thing, 2 episodes, I believe, and a lot of other people believe, of this show were stripped and put over into Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Like a year or so ago.
Yeah, like they have some episodes that they have no idea where to put them.
Yeah, where Mandalorian loses his right to be a Mandalorian, and he goes and he gets Grogu back.
Yeah.
Or Grogu chooses to leave Luke.
It's basically a continuation of season 2.
And those 2 episodes should have been at the beginning of season 3 of Mandalorian.
I agree.
But the problem is, I think they ran out of ideas in Book of Boba Fett. By the way, I did do a review of Book of Boba Fett, and I don't remember exactly what I said in that review, but I probably said the same thing, that it just felt like they were just ripping. They ran out of ideas in Boba Fett, and they just had to bring back Din Djarin and Grogu.
Yeah, just to take the spotlight.
And Ahsoka and Luke. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, they had no real reason to be in that show.
Yeah, and there was another show that was supposed to happen called Rangers of the New Republic. A lot of Star Wars fans are aware of it. But Gina Carano got canceled, and she was going to be one of the main characters along with Bo-Katan and I think a few other characters here and there. I feel like that there is stuff that they were writing for Rangers of the New Republic. When that series got scrapped, they had to repurpose it, recraft it, and then they just meshed it right into Mandalorian season 3, like the New Republic stuff.
Okay.
Like on Coruscant with Dr. Pershing.
Dr. Pershing, yeah, that episode.
Yeah, we find out what happens ultimately to Dr. Pershing, as well as Gideon's right-hand, I guess, officer. Like, she ends up in the Armistice program.
Yeah.
But she's really still an Imperial agent for the Remnant.
Yeah.
Now, that stuff is interesting because it's the world building post Return of the Jedi, right? Like, 5-7 years later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it really does show how incompetent the New Republic is.
Yeah, they look like fools. And, yeah, I mean, they have to just think that just some people are just going to be straight up evil.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody can be reformed. And it's like, oh, don't worry, we'll take this Imperial person, and they'll be like, whatever, okay, after a while.
Yeah, I do like the concept of the Armistice program where they basically take former soldiers, stormtroopers, officers in the Imperial Corps, and they're trying to rehabilitate them, and they're not outright executing them because they would be no better than the Empire if they did that.
Right.
Now, there's obviously war criminals out there like admirals and moffs and warlords that they probably would put on trial and sentenced to death or life in prison. And I think that was their plan for Moff Gideon, but surprise, surprise, he escaped.
Yeah.
They don't show how he escapes.
He just does.
He just does. But yeah, the New Republic is a joke.
It's a joke, yeah. They're shown like a joke in the series.
Yeah, and I think a big reason why they're making the New Republic out to be a joke is because they have to. I guess what they're trying to do is not only like expand the Mandoverse with Mandalorian, Ahsoka coming later this year, which hopefully we will review, and Boba Fett and everything else they're doing. But it does feel like, especially in season 3, that they're trying to do some back repair work to the sequel trilogy.
Right.
Because, unfortunately, all roads do lead to the sequel trilogy, whether you like it or not. Everything that happens in the Mandoverse will lead, like in 2 or 3 decades from now in the story.
To 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, I can see the logic in this because the Republic seemed pretty incompetent in Episode 7 in their final moments because they barely had a fleet. And they simply allowed the First Order to exist in the unknown regions. And General Leia went rogue and created the Resistance in order to counter the First Order. So logically, I think it makes sense for Dave Filoni and Favreau to write the New Republic like this.
Yeah.
It's very bureaucratic. And the right side often does not know what the left side is doing. And they have to be aware of the fact that the Imperial Remnant is out there, the Shadow Council, which is mentioned. Mm-hmm. But it's like they're not doing a damn thing about it.
Yeah, no, they're, like you said, they're extremely incompetent.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do.
And meanwhile, spies continue to grow in their ranks, while most of the Imperials that are in the Armistice program probably just want to become Republic citizens and leave the past behind them.
Right.
There are hardcore Imperials out there that want to do what they can to bring down the New Republic and bring back the Empire.
Yeah. But, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. So you have all that stuff happening on the side. You have Mando and Grogu out there doing their thing. They go back to Navarro, where Grief Karga is now the Chief Magistrate or High Magistrate?
Yeah, High Magistrate, I think.
Yeah, and they're dealing with a pirate problem. And, of course, Mando eventually has to deal with that as well.
Yep. Yeah, because they're basically taking advantage of...
the fact that Navarro has no protection. They're an independent world. They don't want to be part of the New Republic, so there's no squadron of X-Wings, Y-Wings, B-Wings, A-Wings to protect them.
So that's why they asked Mando for, basically, do you want to become the town's sheriff?
Yeah.
Because they had no army or no one to defend them.
No.
So they asked Mando, and he says no.
Yeah, because he has other things to do. He wants the IG-11 droid that they've turned into a statue.
Yeah. We'll talk more about him later.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in a minute. And if we mix things up, like if we're not going in chronological order, so what?
Yeah.
We're just going by what pops in our head throughout season 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Disney, drip feeded it out week by week. So.
Yeah, so it took forever.
But Mando basically wants redemption because, as we just talked about, in the events of Boba Fett, he lost his right to be Mandalorian. The Armorer decided that you're no longer a Mandalorian because you did show your face.
Yeah.
In order to get redemption, he goes back to the Armorer, which is now in this dino desert
world
thing. Looks kind of like Utah. And there's dangerous animals, and they constantly keep attacking the Mandalorians that are part of the Armorer's, what is it called? The Watch.
Tribe?
The Watch.
Yeah, the Watch.
And she tells Din that the only way that you can become a Mandalorian again is by going to Mandalore and going into the waters.
Yeah, the waters of Mandalore.
Yeah, that's the only way that you can get redemption.
And he does.
Yeah, he ultimately does. But before that, one thing that I find interesting is all this time he's not allowed to be a Mandalorian anymore. But they don't take his helmet. He's still wearing his helmet. But the Armorer's like, how dare... Like, you think there would have been a scene, and this would have been a good scene to bring back Pedro Pascal for at least one episode. Because he does voice the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But he's not actually in the suit most of the time.
Yeah.
It's just another actor. Or like whenever, especially when there's fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems kind of weird. But, I do think Pedro's voice is great for Din Djarin.
Maybe he was just too busy doing
Yeah,
Last of Us.
he's extremely popular now.
Yeah.
Like, he's very popular. So I get that. But at least for this scene where he's back at the Watch at their new hideout, that he would have to take off his helmet out of at least respect because he's been basically excommunicated by the Armorer.
Yeah, basically.
So at least she should force him, like, take off your helmet. You have no right to wear that in our presence. Then he takes it off, and then he has to talk to the Armorer without his helmet on.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. She's like, she didn't even make a big deal about it.
Yeah, maybe it's because they just wanted him, just bring me proof of the waters, and then just come back, and they're like, oh, okay, well, you're redeemed.
I guess because I feel like you're right. I think that the Armorer didn't want to excommunicate him, but she felt like she had no choice but to punish him.
Yeah, in some way.
And she knew that there was a way for him to get, quote-unquote, redemption.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mando sets off with... Well, actually, he goes back to Tatooine, of course, because he needs a droid. Mm-hmm. The IG-11 droid. He was originally going to rebuild the IG-11 droid with those little repair droids from Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the few things people like about Rise of Skywalker, those little guys.
Yeah.
But they couldn't repair the IG-11 because it was too badly damaged. And when they turned it back on, it tried to kill again.
Yeah. So it basically wasn't the same droid.
Yeah. So what happened was Din Djarin needed another droid. And, famous Star Wars character ends up joining, I guess, Din and Grogu on their adventures. You don't really think that this is a famous character, but it is. R5.
Yeah. From... basically, the little droid that blew up when Luke was trying to...
with the bad motivator.
Yeah, that.
It's funny because in the lore, because they flesh out his character, of course they flesh out everybody's character in Star Wars lore.
Yeah, like you said, everybody in Star Wars has a name.
It turns out the reason why that happened was because R5 was already part of the rebellion at that point, and R2 convinced R5 that he was on an important mission for the rebellion.
Wait, really?
That's the lore. I think that was in Expanded Universe or Legends, but I think that's canon now because it is established that R5 did serve in the rebellion.
Oh.
So R5 basically took one for the team in A New Hope in order to make sure that R2 and C-3PO got in the hands of Luke Skywalker.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Well, it's just one of those retcon
But
things.
now you're going to look at A New Hope every single time you watch it. You're going to be like, hey, that's the droid that helped Mando.
Yeah. And they did add something else to R5's character, the fact that he has PTSD, so he's kind of afraid of things at first.
Yeah.
Because I guess
That's actually kind of funny.
I guess he went through some crap during the war.
Yeah.
And at first he's very hesitant to help Den, like, scan the surface for, like, oxygen and make sure the atmosphere is normal before they jump out of the starfighter, him and Grogu.
Yeah.
But then they get attacked by these creatures there's a lot of creatures.
It's like a Yeti kind of thing.
Yeah, Yeti-like creature on Mandalore, because, like, most of the planet of Mandalore was wiped out in the Imperial Purge. And there's only a few Mandalorians left. So the planet is basically uninhabitable. Well, supposedly uninhabitable.
Yeah. But then basically he's on this quest of finding the waters, and then
he tries to recruit Bo-Katan.
He tries to recruit Bo-Katan. She said no.
Yeah.
And she stayed on her castle, and then he tries to go do it alone, and he gets captured.
Yeah, by this weird robo thing they never mention again.
No, you see it once and that's it. And then basically Grogu goes in there with him, but Mando tells Grogu, hey, get some help because I'm captured. And then Grogu takes the N1.
Yeah, he takes the Naboo starfighter
and tells
was it Cornada or Corcordia?
I forgot the name.
The moon, one of the planets that Bo-Katan's just sitting in her little castle, just having a little me time, I guess.
Yeah,
a pity party.
So basically, hey, can you come? Grogu appears in the castle, and he basically tells Bo-Katan, hey,
in his own way.
In his own way, of course, he doesn't speak. This guy's captured. Can you come help me rescue him?
Yeah.
Basically.
Because basically Bo-Katan was not willing to help. Because, like, her fleet was gone because she didn't have the Darksaber. They wouldn't follow her. They took the Imperial cruiser. They took all the gauntlets. And they become mercenaries, basically. Axe Wolves and all the other ones.
Yeah.
And so she's obviously down in the dirt because her goal was to try and, like, bring back Mandalore. But she had failed again.
So basically, after that, she goes.
Yeah, she agrees to go with Grogu back down to Mandalore, back down into the mines or the caves to save Din.
And here's a little thing: the Darksaber actually falls out of Din Djarin's gear pocket thing.
He loses it.
Yeah, and basically, what's her name? Bo-Katan gets close to the room, and basically sees Mandalore as well.
Yeah, he's tied up, and he's the creature, the cybernetic creature with an eyeball. A lot of people were calling him Grievous.
Grievous.
I don't know why. He was like half Grievous and half Geonosian, the way the creature looked.
Yeah.
And of course, he had this crab droid as well.
But yeah, basically, she picks up the Darksaber and frees Din Djarin.
Oh, she kicks that creature's ass with the Darksaber.
And she kicks the creature's ass, and then they go and see the waters, the eternal waters.
Yeah, she saves Din Djarin, and even when we were watching, remember what I said? I said, well, I guess she just earned the right to have the Darksaber.
Yeah, she did basically, because she's basically saved Din Djarin.
Yeah, and they kind of hold on to that fact, and then they save it for a few episodes later. Yeah, so that scene does pay off for Bo-Katan. Mm-hmm. But continuing.
But yeah, basically they make it to the waters, and Din Djarin wants to jump in there, and he does, but then he gets dragged.
No, he doesn't get dragged.
Or he gets sinked in.
Yeah, because the bombing damaged the floor of the pool, and so he stepped too far, and it caused him to sink because he has that Beskar armor on.
Yeah,
he had to take off his jetpack in order to go into the water.
Yeah, but basically, I guess the armor is like super heavy or something. Yeah. But I mean, he seems to walk around and run around with it just fine.
Well, I guess he's gotten used to it, but I guess it's just the fact that he was. You know, sometimes when you step into water and you don't realize you're about to step into a deeper end of the water.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like plunges you a little.
Yeah, but he went so deep.
Yeah.
And basically, Bo-Katan freaks out and she goes down there.
Yeah.
And she basically grabs him and
saves him again.
Yeah, and saves him again. And sees like a sword.
The mythosaur. She sees the legendary mythosaur. And she, at first, she's so concerned to drag him out of the water that she sees it and it sees her. And afterwards, she thinks that she was just imagining the mythosaur.
Yeah, but it was real.
Yeah.
And basically, after that, they leave the planet, and I guess she sees Mandalore for what it is, and I guess she sees she can rebuild her or something.
she starts to have a different opinion about all the legendary stories in Mandalore because she's not one of the hardcore Mandalorians that are under the watch, where they wear their helmet and they believe like hardcore in the Kree and the legends and the stories and the first Mandalore and the Mythosaur. But seeing what Din Djarin was willing to do in order to get redemption, to get back into the watch and become a quote-unquote Mandalorian again, even risking his life, and the fact that she saw the Mythosaur, that kind of gives her an awakening as to what being Mandalore really means. Even though she was a princess, she was royalty. She was the daughter of Duchess Satine, and she was part of Death Watch when she was, I guess, a teenager. I guess if you try to age it properly.
I guess.
Because you have to justify the fact that she looks like she's in her 40s, just like Katie Sackhoff is in her 40s. So I guess she was a teenager when she joined Death Watch during the Clone Wars.
I guess. But, yeah, basically after that, they make it out of the planet, and they go to the Sand World.
Sand World's, Tatooine, Jakku, list goes on and on.
The
Dino World, as I call it.
The one where they are hiding out at the moment.
Yeah, where the Watch is gathered and they're hiding in these caves.
So they make it over there, and they bring proof, and everybody's basically redeemed.
Yeah, even
Bo-Katan.
Yeah, because she went into the waters.
So, yeah, she's basically accepted there for the time. And then we go to, then the next episode, if I'm not mistaken, is the Dr. Pershing one.
Yeah, which was what we already talked in. Long story short on that one, the double agent spy for Moff Gideon ends up mind flayering him, I guess scrambling his brains.
Yeah.
And the Republic is so incompetent that they allow a former Imperial officer to be in the room alone with him when they're doing this, even though it's the same Imperial officer that basically tricked him.
Yep. Which basically screams his doom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically after that little arc, we go to filler.
Yeah, more filler.
This is filler. Okay, so in this one, basically Din Djarin and Grogu, they're trying to make Grogu adapt to the Mandalorians.
Way. Because he chose to be a Mandalorian. Luke gave him that choice.
Yeah.
Either you stay with me and eventually you'll get Yoda's lightsaber, which I understand him getting Yoda's lightsaber because Yoda probably left a few possessions in his little hut when he passed away on Dagobah. Or became one with the Force. That's the more correct term.
Yeah. But, yeah, basically he's adapting to their ways.
Yeah.
And the little kid starts bullying him,
Yeah.
Because he gets challenged.
Vizsla's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, Vizsla's son, and they start having this little 1v1 duel.
Yeah, this little target where they're using
using
paintballs.
paint, yeah.
Basically, and it's so weird how Grogu wins that fight.
He basically force jumps and then just do 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and a lot of people were scratching their head because I wasn't the only one that thought this. Other people did too. It's like, wait a minute, I thought it was like one shot per turn.
Yeah, I know, right? Because that's basically what the little kid did.
Yeah, he shot Grogu twice, but then Grogu saved his 3 shots and shot him 3 times.
It's like, hey, that's not fair.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, then after that, they get
attacked by another creature.
By a dino creature.
Yeah, a few creatures attacked them. First off, this giant alligator turtle.
That was in the first episode.
That was in the first episode. That comes out of the water.
But then in this one, it was like a dinosaur bear. I mean,
dinosaur
bird.
Flying raptor thing.
Yeah. So basically, he swallows the kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, we have to save my kid. And they have this whole plan that takes 45 minutes. And basically, they go and rescue the kid.
Yeah.
And, they take the dinosaur's bird.
Yeah,
the little birds. It's
so weird because the boy gets taken. I guess he doesn't get swallowed right away, but he gets clearly in the talons, right, when the creature flies off. Right?
Yeah.
And this is not the first time this has happened. Several other Mandalorians have been taken by this flying raptor, or dragon, or whatever you want to call it, to feed its offspring. It has 3 little chicks in the nest. They're pretty big size for little chicks.
Yeah.
But Bo-Katan's the one who says, we can go save him. I have the gauntlet. So a lot of Mandalorians, including Din, along with Paz Vizsla. It's Paz Vizsla, right? Because there's
Vizsla.
Because there's several Vizslas.
Yeah.
In fact, she served under a Vizsla in the Clone Wars.
I forgot which one it was, but yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So you have a Vizsla. He's going to save his son along with Bo-Katan, Din Djarin, and a few other Mandos.
And basically, they start going in this little fight, basically.
With the dragon.
With the dragon, and of course, guess who wins? And they take the kid back.
Yeah.
And earning Privis's respect on the way.
Yeah. Because at first, like, Vizsla didn't really care for Din or Bo-Katan.
Yeah, she didn't care.
But
they didn't care.
But after they both risked their lives to try and save his son.
He was forever grateful.
Yeah.
And basically, they also kidnap the little free birds.
Yeah.
And I guess they eat them?
Eventually.
Because I didn't see... I thought they were going to use them like as riders, like as an avatar.
Because, like, I watched a video about this, and apparently those birds are actually indigenous to Mandalore. Or in expanded universe, and that's why they took the birds, because like the theory was they were going to eventually like allow the birds to grow, have them domesticated, and they were going to use the birds as flying creatures.
So like Avatar.
But that ultimately appears to not be what happens to them, allegedly, or else it's those other flying animals on Navarro that end up getting eaten. But that's a future episode. We're skipping ahead a little bit.
But yeah, basically after that, then the episode ends and we go to episode 5.
Yeah, I think we're back on Navarro because now the pirates are really attacking Navarro.
Yeah. And this episode is okay.
Yeah.
Basically, Navarro's being attacked. The pirates take over.
Yeah, and they have this cool-looking cruiser.
Yeah, and in this one, I think it's the rebel dude that comes to Mando.
The New Republic captain, yeah.
Yeah, goes to Mando and asks for help for Navarro. Like, hey, an old friend needs your help.
Yeah, because Kreese sent a message, Grief Karga sent a message to the New Republic, and I forgot what the squadron is he's over, the captain, but he for some reason he hops in his X-Wing, he flies all the way to Coruscant in order to talk to somebody in the government.
To the New Republic, yeah.
And the New Republic. And the New Republic's just incompetent as usual.
It's like, huh?
And Moff Gideon's spy just happens to be in the conversation. Okay.
Yeah. Timing.
Yeah, the timing, right?
But yeah, basically it's like, okay, well, somebody has to do something about it, and then he talks to Mando.
Yeah, he knows where the watch is because of R5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically it's like, okay, well, now that you're here, we're going to have to move now, It's like, oh, you'll relocate. And then basically he lets him know of what's going on in Navarro.
Yeah. And so the Mandalorians have a conclave, basically, to discuss the situation on Navarro. And Din Djarin is basically doing his best to try and convince the other Mandalorians that going to save, the people of Navarro, including, like, Grief Karga, who has bad history with these Mandalorians in Season 1, that they're worth saving from the pirates. But then Paz gets up, and at first you think Paz is going to, like, counter what Din Djarin said.
Yeah, but no.
No. And it's pretty cool. He said, why should we go to Navarro and fight and potentially die for these people?
And then basically they led the whole plan of we can get something out of this.
No, he says because we're Mandalorians.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what we do. We are Mandalorians. We are warriors. And so that riles the troops up. And everyone's like, yeah, this is the way, It's a pretty epic scene. Because it makes sense. Like, yeah, of course.
It's the way that you made it sound.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah, this is the way. So we have to go and save them.
It's a lot more exciting scene than I portrayed.
You made it sound so meh.
It's not meh, okay? They actually really get into it because, they do take pride in being Mandalorians, and this is what they do,
Yeah. But, yeah, basically they go in there, and Mando and Bo-Katan are just kicking ass with their dogfighting skills.
Yeah.
And then you have like some troops on the ground taking care of the pirates on the ground.
Yeah.
They basically destroy the pirates.
Yeah, the pirates get their ass kicked.
Yeah, everybody. I think, I don't know if this guy lived. I think he escaped the evil pirate.
One of the pirate lieutenants does escape because he's in, a snub fighter?
Yeah.
But all the other pirates get destroyed. The sad thing is the Mandalorians don't capture the pirate cruiser.
No, they just destroy it.
They just destroy it. Just crashes into a mountain near the town.
Yeah.
Of Navarro.
But
that's such a wasted ship right there because they could have just had another team board the cruiser and just take the ship.
True, but yeah, they didn't. It got destroyed. But basically, then after that, the townsfolk celebrate them. Like, yeah, the Mandalorians rule and all that shit.
And they I guess they allow the Mandalorians to call Navarro their second home.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then after that, they want to... I think that's where the episode ends.
Yeah.
And
no. Armor asks to speak with Bo-Katan, and she tells Bo-Katan to take off her helmet. And at first, because up to this point, Bo-Katan has kept her helmet on.
Yep.
After she dove in the waters to save Din, she's kept her helmet on. But the Armorer has come to realize that in order to unite Mandalore, she has to unite all of Mandalore. Not just the ones that follow the Watch, but the others that are a little bit more liberal, that take off their helmets. Yeah. Which includes Bo-Katan. And because of the fact that she is Mandalore royalty, she is the last surviving ruler of Mandalore. Her father's gone, her sister's gone. She's basically
alone.
Yeah. And she's like, you exist in two worlds. And she's like, you can take your helmet off. And we need you to go out and get other Mandalores to join us. And, Bo-Katan agrees. And Din and Grogu go with her.
Yeah. And that's when we go into the next episode with Jack Black.
And Lizzo.
And Lissa and Doc.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that episode was...
Interesting?
Interesting. It had a bunch of cameos, but it was okay.
Yeah, it's on this planet called, Pleasure 15 or...
I don't know. I don't remember. But basically, the whole thing is filler until the very end.
Yeah, but there's some cool stuff that does happen. I mean, it's Jack Black. He's pretty cool as he plays...
Bowser.
Yeah. Well, because we just did a review of Super Mario Brothers where he plays Bowser.
Yeah.
And he's toned down a little bit as his character. I think his name's Bombardier or something.
Bombardier or something, yeah. I don't remember.
And then Lizzo's the Duchess of this world. Is a direct democracy or something. Mm-hmm. And they have instituted help from former battle droids to do labor and stuff.
Yeah, which is amazing that we can still see battle droids post episodes 7, 6?
Episode 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, post Clone Wars. They've just been shelled, right?
Yeah.
And been repurposed for civilian duty, like heavy loading and carrying things. But apparently on this planet that Duchess, Lizzo, and Jack Black are on, the droids have been acting up. And the reason why Bo and Din and Grogu are here is to talk to the other Mandalorians, like Axe Wolves and them. They're on this planet too. They've been contracted out as, I guess, mercenaries.
Yeah. It's basically, it's just filler.
It's filler, yeah. But in order for her to get access to Axe Wolves, she and Din first have to help them with the droid problem.
It's a side quest.
It's a side quest.
But, yeah, basically they talk to Doc Brown.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, well, this is the source of the problem. This is where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And I need you guys to do something about it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay. And they start looking.
Yeah.
And they start with the super battle droid.
Well,
I think.
The regular battle droid, they brought back the same voice actor that voices the battle droids.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. Because he's like the dock supervisor. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, what are you guys doing? We're trying to work here.
I love your voice for that. That's a good impression.
Yeah.
But, yeah, basically after that, it's like, hey, don't provoke him because Mando keeps hitting them.
Because he hates battle droids. Because of if you watched the first season of Mandalorian, you see the backstory with what happened to his parents in the Clone Wars.
Right.
Their world was attacked by the Separatists, and he was almost killed by the super battle droids, but that's when Death Watch saved him when he was a child, and that's how he became a foundling.
Right.
So he has no love for battle droids.
Yeah, so he just keeps kicking them and hitting them.
Yeah, until one acts up, and one sure enough does act up because there are quote unquote defectives running around.
Yeah. And basically they get to him and they find out that he has something from a certain bar.
Yeah, it leads them to a droid bar.
Yeah. And basically it's like, oh, what is in here? And the droid doesn't know.
Yeah, but then the droids are like, look, we don't want to be shut off. We don't want to be turned to scrap.
All we have is this.
Yeah, we are not responsible for what's happening.
Yeah. So basically, they take whatever is
they
in
agree
the...
to help. Yeah, they agree to help Din.
Yeah, they agree to help, and they take whatever is in the drink, and they give it to like this supervisor thing that can check in like a microscope.
Yeah, the scientist.
And see what's in it, and then they find out what's in it, which is like nanobites or little nanobots, and they find out that they cause. I mean, no, they find out some hidden text in the nanobots because they go even deeper with the zoom in.
Yeah.
And they find out that Doc has actually been doing a couple of things with the nanobots.
Yeah.
And then they go to Doc, and Doc is just like freaking out. And
he's threatening to push a button, which will basically like activate all the battle droids.
Oh yeah.
Back to their old Clone Wars programming because plot twist, he's a separatist.
Yep.
And I thought this was actually, even though it's a filler episode, I thought this was a very interesting twist because you really don't see a point of view of the separatists or those that were separatist citizens or sympathizers post Clone Wars, post Episode 3.
Yeah, they just kind of disappear.
Yeah, they hated the Republic, obviously. They felt it was corrupt, too powerful. But to see how a former separatist or like a hardcore separatist like Doc Brown's character, Hellgate, I think that is his name, Hellgate, like how he felt about the Empire. He hated the Empire too.
Yeah.
So it's like he doesn't have anyone. He doesn't like the old Republic or New Republic. He hated the Empire, but he also believed that Count Dooku was a hero.
Yeah, and then he gets knocked out.
Yeah, he gets knocked out.
I don't know how. I don't remember.
Yeah, he got knocked out by somehow, but it was interesting because it does go back to at least a couple episodes of the Clone Wars where they actually show a different point of view of the Separatists, how they're not all bad. Now, they had legitimate reasons for wanting to leave the Republic, and I think that's what they were trying to do with Hellgate, is show that he didn't see Dooku as a bad guy because he didn't know what Dooku was actually up to. He was just probably just a common Separatist citizen.
Yeah.
Or maybe he fought for the Separatists. And he was loyal to the CIS, the Confederacy of Independent Systems. But he didn't know that Dooku was a Sith Lord and a puppet of Palpatine. But we're going by this dude's perspective.
Yeah.
He just saw them all as bad. And I think what triggered him is when Bombardier basically ended up becoming the Duchess's husband. Mm-hmm. Because he's a former Imperial officer. So he's one of the armistice people. But he's not. He's Jack Black's character is not a bad guy.
Yeah.
At least he didn't come across as a bad guy.
No, he seemed pretty friendly.
He seemed to regret. He seemed to regret his days in the Empire, and he was trying to make up for it.
Yeah, no, he just moved on.
Yeah.
But basically after that, they helped him, and he gets arrested.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, here you go. You finish your side quest. You may actually go to your actual mission.
Yeah, you may actually now go talk to Axe Wolves and the other Mandalorians.
Yeah, which they do.
Yeah.
And Bo-Katan basically starts fighting.
Oh, that's right, because Axe Wolves refuses to join her because he's basically taken over the stolen fleet.
Yeah. So basically, they start fighting and then they start arguing. Yeah. And then Din Djarin is like, well, technically, she did kind of save me from the Mandalore episode 2 villain.
Yeah, what we were talking about earlier.
And she deserves a Darksaber, and she gets a Darksaber, and I guess they follow her.
More or less, that's pretty much what happens. She does win the hand-to-hand combat against Axe Wolves. He does ultimately yield. But they still aren't willing to follow her until, what you were just talking about. The fact that they had an issue because Din had the Darksaber. So they thought, well, if we're going to follow somebody, shouldn't we follow Din? He has the Darksaber. And like we were just saying, he technically has the Darksaber, but she did earn it by saving his life. Using the Darksaber to defeat the enemy that defeated him. Yeah.
But, yeah, that's pretty much it, and then the episode ends.
Yeah.
And then we go to what, 6?
Yeah, they all go to Navarro. So this is the penultimate episode or whatever they call it. And this is where we learn about the Shadow Council. Moff Gideon without his mustache because it was seized by the New Republic.
Yeah.
So you have several people. You have Hux's father, who was him, and they never show Sloane, but she was also an important commander in the early days of the First Order. And then you have several other Imperial warlords that appear in hollow screens. Mm-hmm. And they're all plotting. The Imperial remnant is still out there, but they don't want to alert the New Republic to how organized they are.
Yeah.
They're just staying on the outer rim, like trying to do something.
They're trying to do something at the same time staying off the radar.
Yeah. But Moff Gideon is now concerned because, according to his agent on Coruscant, the Mandalorians are uniting.
Yeah.
And that's something that Moff Gideon never thought would happen. And where are the Mandalorians heading?
To Mandalore.
And who happens to be on Mandalorian in his top secret base?
Moff Gideon.
Ding, ding, ding.
So, yeah, it just so happens that he's there.
Yeah, it just so happens.
And basically, they're trying... Basically, the whole episode is like, oh, yeah, we gotta find for Mandalore, and here's our reasoning, and then we get to the base.
Well, they're going to find the Great Forge. Because they're going to go scout the planet with their fleet. So they leave Navarro for Mandalore, and like a scouting team lands, and a ship show like a kind of like a pirate type ship, like is skiffing across the land of Mandalore, and it's surviving Mandalorians that somehow survived the purge.
Yeah.
And they're in terrible shape.
Yeah, they don't look so good.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like, oh, we failed you, Bo-Katan, but now our blasters are still in your service, I think.
Yeah, but then she reveals something to all of them about why Moff Gideon ended up with a Darksaber.
Yeah, and it's basically because she trusted him in some deal.
Yeah. Well, I think this was right before the purge of Mandalore, and Moff Gideon, who was in the ISB, basically gave her no choice. I guess this takes place after the events in Rebels where Sabine gives her the Darksaber.
Yeah.
So Moff Gideon has the Imperial fleet, I guess, at Mandalore, heading to Mandalore, and he basically gives her an ultimatum. You surrender and hand over the Darksaber and save your people and save Mandalore, or I'm going to wipe out Mandalore and kill most of your people.
Yeah.
She does what he says, but
he still betrays her.
He still betrays her. He still purges Mandalore.
Yep.
And that's why Mandalore was devastated by Moff Gideon and by the Imperial fleet.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Then they go to the depths of Mandalore.
Yeah, it's weird because they're on this skiff pirate ship thing, and they're the Mandalorians that have been living off the planet. They know where to go.
Yeah.
But then another giant creature magically just shows up and destroys the ship, which is where they're supposed to be anyways in order to get down to the Great Forge.
Yeah.
Which is underground. So I don't really think the giant creature was necessary, but... Okay.
No, it really wasn't. But yeah, then after that, they see some people coming towards them.
In jetpacks.
And
they fly now.
They fly now? And they're basically Imperials.
Yeah, they're new Imperial commandos.
With Beskar armor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're pretty dangerous. But at the same time, they're not.
Yeah, they're basically just stormtroopers that have sweet-looking Mandalorian-style armor.
Yeah, pretty much. And, I mean, at the beginning, they're kind of a threat.
Yeah.
But then the next episode turns out that they're
Yeah.
But, yeah, after that, they basically all run because they took out a few of them, but then they started getting ambushed.
Well, they start chasing the retreating commandos.
Yeah.
But the commandos that are retreating are leading them into a trap.
Yeah, which is the Imperial base where Moff Gideon is.
Yeah.
And basically, then they get separate. They get split up because they had this door.
Yeah, they drop the blast door, and most of Mandalorians, including Bo-Katan, is behind the blast door. But a couple Mandalorians, including Din, are fighting the commandos.
Yeah.
But
Din just gets captured.
The other Mandalorians the other ones that were with him get killed, but he's the only one that gets captured.
Yeah. And then you have Pre Vizsla.
Well, that doesn't happen yet. Moff Gideon shows up.
Oh yeah.
In a new Dark Trooper armor,
which looks kind of cool.
It looks cool, and he has a Mandalorian style helmet.
Yeah.
And so he shows up, and he demands that Bo-Katan hand over the Darksaber. Of course, she refuses. He has the commandos take Din away for quote unquote debriefing.
Yeah. And then
Bo-Katan and them start shooting at the blast door, and then she runs back to the other side of the wall, and she cuts a hole with the Darksaber.
Yeah.
And then they manage to get the blast door open, and you're getting to the part about...
Yeah, Pre Vizsla, and him staying behind
with his minigun.
With his minigun and his little knife and shield.
Yeah.
And basically, it's like a final stand.
Yeah, against all the Imperial commandos.
So basically, he does take them all out.
Yeah, the Imperial commandos get their asses beat.
But at the same time, he does get pretty badly injured.
Yeah.
By them. And then you see the big reveal that after he destroys all the commandos, the free guards.
Yeah, because in the Shadow Council meeting, Moff Gideon was asking for help. And they were also talking about Thrawn. And that was another cool scene because Captain Pelion was there, which is well known in Legends as Thrawn's right-hand man. And Thrawn is going to be a main character, a main antagonist in the Ahsoka series. So Thrawn is coming back, which is cool. But Pelion's there as well. Well, only Pelion's there representing Thrawn. But to this point, Thrawn hasn't revealed himself yet.
Yeah. I wonder what he's going to look like in the live action.
Yeah. But like everyone else on the Shadow Council is beginning to question whether or not they should actually follow Thrawn because all they have to show for him is Pelion.
Yeah.
But Pelion's like, no, Thrawn's coming back. We got to wait for him. When he's back, we're going to reunite under him and we're going to take down the New Republic. But you obviously have different factions. You have the proto First Order under Hux's dad.
Yeah.
And Sloane. And then of course you have Moff Gideon with his own ambitions of taking over.
Yeah.
But they all agree to send Moff Gideon help. And what the proto First Order sent were the 3 Praetorian guards.
Yeah. And basically those are the guards that show up.
Yeah.
And basically badly injured Vizsla does a final stand, but he couldn't even take one of them out.
No.
He just gets absolutely destroyed and dies.
Yeah. Well, he dies a warrior.
Yeah,
so.
he dies a warrior's death.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's how the episode ends, and then we get to the final episode.
The finale.
The return.
Yep.
And basically in this episode it's just basically it starts with Din Djarin. No, it starts with Bo-Katan escaping and running.
Yeah, she's trying to get the survivors out of the base.
Yeah.
And they're being pursued by the commandos.
And then you have Din Djarin just getting captured, but then he pulls a 180 and,
yeah.
and kills the 2 commandos.
Yeah, because it's so weird because Moff Gideon knows what Din Djarin's capable of.
Yeah.
And he captured him obviously for a reason. He knows, even though the Mandalorians do wear similar armor, that each armor type is different. He has history with Din Djarin. So why did you leave only 2 commandos to carry him down the hallway? That was stupid.
I think that's why he realized his mistake later on, where he says, should I get reinforcements? No, I'll get it myself.
Yeah.
But basically after that, he escapes.
Yeah, well, with the help of Grogu, and that was another thing we forgot to mention about Grogu. Grogu got himself a nice, sweet mech suit.
Yeah, IG-12.
Yeah, in the previous episode. And at first it was kind of silly, but it actually is kind of cool if he's inside this mech suit and he's able to say yes or no with it. Yes, no, yes. And it annoys Din when they're walking to the marketplace in Navarro.
Yeah.
But he actually uses it because another thing we forgot to mention was Axe Wolves and Vizsla got into a fight over a board game. Because they each played the game differently because they're 2 different factions.
Yeah.
And it was about to get bloody, but then Grogu in the previous episode actually stepped in with his IG-12 mech suit and just stopped him and said, no.
Yeah, that was actually kind of cool and funny.
Yeah, it was cool and funny at the same time, and it made a point that Grogu actually does care and he doesn't want them to fight because he wants, just like Bo, just like Din, just like the armor, wants them all to work together to put aside their history and their differences because they're all Mandalorians.
Yeah.
So Grogu comes in, he helps Din fight off the 2 commandos in his mech suit.
And then after that, what happened?
Oh yeah, Axe Wolves. Axe Wolves went to go for help, and he flew up for help in the previous episode, which is weird because he must have the best jetpack of Mandalore, because in the one episode where they were trying to chase down the dragon, all the other Mandalorians' jetpacks ran out of fuel.
Oh yeah.
But Axe's jetpack goes piercing up through the clouds, all the way up to the Mandalorian fleet above.
He's using that premium fuel.
I guess so. So, Bo-Katan's telling him to warn the fleet. Warn the fleet. Moff Gideon is sending TIE interceptors and bombers to destroy our fleet.
And he warns the fleet.
Yeah, he warns the fleet. Most of the fleet is I don't think the fleet really retreats they're like, no, fuck this. We're all going down in gauntlets, and we're going down there to help.
Yeah.
The only ship that stays up as a decoy is
the main ship,
the cruiser, which was actually Moff Gideon's cruiser from season 2.
Yeah.
And Axwell stays behind to buy them time while the gauntlets and the Fang fighters, they descend into the clouds. And it's a really cool scene. And then all of a sudden, as soon as they descend, I guess they just pass each other and don't notice each other in the clouds. The TIE fighter, the TIE interceptors and the TIE bombers come up out of the clouds, heading towards the cruiser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then basically after that, I guess he takes all of them out, but at the same time...
I don't think he took them all out. I think he took out a couple of them. But
okay.
That is another mystery. Like, what happens to the surviving TIE interceptors?
Yeah, because you
bombers?
never see them again.
I guess they fucked off.
Okay, well, we killed them. Bye.
Our work here's done. Oh, we're not hearing back from Moff Gideon? Okay, we'll just go to another one of the Imperial warlords.
Yeah, but basically, after that, you have this scene with Din Djarin and R5. And
oh yeah, because R5 has landed and he's helping Dan try to locate Moff Gideon.
Yeah, and basically it's like these blast doors from episode 1.
Yeah.
But he starts taking the commanding officers that are protecting the commanding room.
Yeah.
It's kinda, one by one.
It kind of reminds me of the Daredevil hallway fight scene.
Oh yeah, that was like
Yeah.
but without the ray shields.
Yeah, because there's a whole bunch of commandos lined up in the ray shields. And what he wants R5 to do, like you were saying, is lower one at a time so he could deal with them 1v2 each time. Because at this point, he has no weapons. It's just him and Grogu in Grogu's mech suit.
Yeah, and a knife.
And a knife.
But yeah, basically then he starts doing all that and start getting to the final blast door, and then R5 gets discovered by a mouse droid.
Yeah, the mouse droids.
And he starts freaking out, but basically it's like, R5... lower the shield.
The final blast shield.
Lower the shield. And then R5 is like, I'm shocking this mouse droid. Give me a second.
Yeah.
And then he finishes the shield, but then R5 gets surrounded by 4 mouse droids.
Yeah.
And he just flies off. He finishes the job with Mendo, so good job to R5.
Yeah.
But then basically R5 flies off and knocks one of the mouse droids into the bottomless pit of hell.
Poor mouse droids.
Yeah. And then after that, basically, he makes it into this clone room.
Oh yeah, there's a clone chamber with a whole bunch of Moff Gideon clones.
Yeah, which is weird. It's basically Moff Gideon, but he wants to have the Force.
Yeah, because he talked about that in the previous episode. He wants to take the best that these different species have. Like, for example, his new armor's like based off the Dark Trooper armor, but with a person inside of it.
Yeah.
And the Beskar alloy, and of course the abilities of the Jedi with the Force.
Yeah, so basically we'll be unstoppable, kinda.
He's trying to create an unstoppable clone of Gideon's.
Oh God. Oh, Gus is gonna be everywhere. But yeah, basically after that, Mando says fuck that and destroys no wait, one of them opens their eyes.
Yeah, to Grogu.
Yeah, and basically Grogu starts freaking out, and then Mando's like, no, we're not going to have this, and destroys all the clone chambers, and the whole place starts getting flooded.
Yeah.
And basically, I think that one that opened his eyes is still alive.
It's possible that he may have. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
Because you see all the water, like, coming out, but you never see the clone, like, getting destroyed or blown up or anything.
Yeah.
So, I guess you could say, oh, Moff Gideon returns off screen, because... that one clone. But it's not really Moff Gideon because it's a clone.
Exactly, and he could just have a blank slate, right?
Unless he has the memories of Moff Gideon. But then after that, basically, the place gets destroyed. Like I said, you don't see the clone getting destroyed, so he could return. And then you meet Moff Gideon outside. And he reveals his entire plan of what he was actually trying to do with those clones.
Yeah. And he's not happy about the fact that Din Djarin just allegedly killed them all.
Yeah, basically, quote unquote.
Yeah, but then the epic fight breaks out between Din and Gideon's Mandalorian style Dark Trooper armor, and we find out that it is not just like really tough. He also has like built-in like mechanoid abilities, like where you hear the noise like where he actually has enhanced his strength.
Yeah.
So it is kind of like his own mech suit.
Yeah, but then basically after that. Grogu is like, wait, let me help you. And then the free guards appear.
Yeah, the Praetorian guards show up again. and it basically becomes a fight versus Din versus Moff Gideon, and Grogu in his IG-12 mech suit versus the 3 Praetorian Guards, and they go back into the Shadow Council room.
Yeah, and you actually think that something bad's gonna happen to Grogu?
I didn't.
I knew nothing bad was gonna happen to him, but the show makes you want to think that something bad's gonna happen because Grogu's getting like surrounded, and Din is just getting absolutely destroyed by Moff Gideon, and it's like, oh no, what's gonna happen to Grogu? But Grogu has the Force, and he has Force Gem and all this shit. So
I will say this: they made it more of a fight than I thought it was going to be against Grogu. I thought the joke was going to be that Grogu was just simply going to use his powers and just slam him against the wall at the same time and just knock him the hell out.
Yeah, very easily.
But no, the Praetorian Guards actually do chop down the limbs of the IG-12 to the point where Grogu has to jump out of it and has to avoid them as they're trying to cut him with their weapons. Meanwhile, you have Bo-Katan along with the surviving Mandos arrive in a garden cave, and she finds out that stuff can grow on the planet again in the caves.
Yeah, basically giving her hope for Mandalore.
Yeah, and then the armorer and the rest of the reinforcements arrive.
Yeah, to help capture the Great Forge.
Yeah, and so that's a pretty cool scene with all them flying in jetpacks. Diving down towards the Imperial commandos. They're coming up after them. And Bo-Katan has her Darksaber out leading the charge.
She has a cool pose.
Yeah. And so does the armorer. She has both her freaking hammers.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. And, ass kicking ensues.
Yeah, so basically they have like this, where, you have the commandos coming out. Mm-hmm. And then basically you have the Mandalorians coming out as well. And then you have like this final stand, like facing face to face.
Yeah.
And basically, they have like this whole fight. It lasts for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
It's a good fight, but it cuts back and forth between that fight and Mando and Grogu and Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bo-Katan, after she finishes with most of the commandos, she goes to help Din.
Yeah, she notices that she looks down and she notices that Din is struggling against Moff Gideon and Moff Gideon's Dark Trooper Mandalorian armor. So she goes down, she helps.
I guess in a way it is fitting because I guess she has personal history with Gideon.
Yeah, they both do, but she also has the Darksaber. And then she goes and tells Din, go help your kid. Moff Gideon is mine. And then Moff Gideon offers her a chance to hand over the Darksaber and surrender again.
Yeah, for a warrior's death.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I haven't even had my shot to kill you yet. And it's like, oh, I'll give you words. It's like, huh? I haven't even lost yet.
Yeah. Of course, this time around, Bo-Katan is not going to surrender.
No, it's fight to the death.
Yeah, and so he pulls out this staff, which looks kind of like, I don't know if it's similar to the Praetorian Guard's weapons, or is it like, what were the droids in...
The Magna Guard?
Yeah, is it a Magna Guard staff that he has?
I think so. It looks kind of like that.
But it's a cool looking staff, so he's able to use it to parry Bo-Katan's Darksaber.
Yeah, but basically after that, after a bunch of fighting... Bo-Katan throws basically a killing blow, but then Moff Gideon catches it.
Yeah.
And then in the way crushes her arm to the point where it destroys
her hand.
Her hand, and just destroys the Darksaber.
Yeah. I think they can rebuild it.
Yeah.
They can. The Darksaber is an ancient weapon of the Mandalorians. It's a proud weapon that was wielded by the first Mandalore, who was a Jedi. That's why it's a saber.
Yeah.
So they could repair it. If Anakin's lightsaber, the youngling 1000 Slayer or whatever they call it, was ripped apart by Rey and Kylo and can be rebuilt, then so could the Darksaber.
Yeah.
But the other fight that's happening is Din, Grogu versus the Praetorian Guards.
Oh yeah, they pretty much killed them pretty easily.
It was a cool team up because Grogu's using the Force to knock him back, and Din's doing and Din's doing the Mandalorian thing.
Yeah, so basically like a little team up duo, and they win pretty easily. Yeah,
they end up killing all 3 Praetorian Guards, and they go to help Bo-Katan against Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Axe is bringing down the badly damaged Imperial cruiser.
Which is kind of fitting that Moff Gideon meets his demise with his own ship.
I know. So Axe warns everybody, like, hey, I'm coming down with the Imperial cruiser. Get out of there, because I'm going to bring it right on top of their base.
Yeah, and basically he's like, fuck this, I'm bailing. He bails.
Well, he wasn't. I mean, why kill himself when he could just, like blast a window and get out?
Yeah, which he does.
Unlike Hodo, he's actually likable.
Wow. But yeah, basically after that he jumps out and basically everybody's getting out of the way except for Bo-Katan and Mando because they're fighting Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
And basically Moff Gideon gets roasted.
Yeah, because basically the cruiser crashes, I guess, right behind him.
Yeah.
And allegedly kills him. He's in the armor.
He's off kill the screen.
Yeah. So
you see him burning, but then you never see him again. You don't see a body, so
yeah,
killed off screen.
So even if that Moff Gideon was killed, there's a possibility that a clone Moff Gideon may have survived.
Yeah.
But then again, that could be a clone also because no mustache.
No mustache. But yeah, basically after that, the whole fire lands on Din Djarin and Bo-Katan, but Grogu uses the Force to create a force field.
Yeah, a force bubble.
Yeah, and something that Violet from Incredibles could not do. But yeah, he creates a force field, saves them all, and then we cut to them going to the Great Forge.
Yep.
And
well, first the waters.
What? Oh yeah, first the waters.
Yeah.
Then the Great Forge.
Yeah, Vizsla's son gets baptized, and then Grogu actually becomes an apprentice, and Din Djarin, tells the armor that he is officially adopting Grogu, which means Grogu has a new name.
Yeah, Din Grogu.
Yeah, because Din's his first name. Din's the last name. So it's the Din, I guess that's how it works.
I don't know. But basically, he gets adopted.
Yeah.
And you have this whole celebration, the Great Forge.
Yeah.
And it's for Mandalore, and they start rebuilding all that shit, I guess.
I guess it's alluded to that both factions are now one faction, and there are those Mandalorians that are going to keep their helmets on. There's those that'll be more liberal and only put them on when they need to, like, of course, Bo-Katan. It seems like Bo-Katan's numero uno with armor right beside her. So 1 and 2 right there. There was another scene that we nearly skipped over back at the water scene when Grogu's becoming Din Grogu, apprentice to Din Djarin. Grogu looks into the waters.
Yeah, and see the Mythosaur.
Yeah, he basically, I guess, through the Force communicates with the Mythosaur. So they have some sort of, I guess, bond.
Right.
Grogu and the Mythosaur.
But
kind of cool.
Then after that, it's if you're gonna take him under your wing, you have to take him for journeys. And it's okay, well, I'm gonna screw away from this planet, and I'm gonna go back to Navarro.
Well, he first goes back to the New Republic base.
Oh yeah, to meet with the great guy.
Yeah.
And he wants work.
Yeah, he agrees to be a bounty hunter, independent contractor for the New Republic to help hunt down the Imperial Remnant.
But without telling them that he's actually working.
Yeah, because it's the new. I mean, they know how incompetent the New Republic government is.
Yeah. And
the need right now is greater than ever to deal with the Imperial Remnant. So, yeah, I think that they're going to have to employ services like this off the radar, such as Din Djarin and Grogu.
Yeah.
But they do get a little down payment for their services.
So there you go. And then after that, they go to Navarro.
Yeah.
And IG-11 is group built.
Yeah, thanks to a trophy that Din and Grogu took from
the base.
Yeah, which was an IG-11 head, I think.
Yeah.
So they use that, I guess the chip inside it they give that. This happens off screen, but I'm going by what's happened in the season. The droid builders, I guess they rebuild IG-11 and they make him the town marshal, basically.
Yeah. And then basically it's hey, you still have this one place I could give you to, help you.
Yeah, Grief Karga basically gives Din and Grogu a cabin.
Here you go. You have your own crib.
Yeah.
So here are my crib, and I have my own little lily pond.
Yeah.
And my own little landing port.
Yeah. And
you have Grogu just playing with the Force with a frog.
Yeah, with a space frog.
And my man's just getting some sun.
Yeah.
Just laying down, just enjoying the sun and his armor.
Yeah.
And then it just puts a circle around him, and it cuts to black, and in the end.
Yeah, it's a very weird ending. A few others. I watched Thor Skywalker's review of it, and I felt the same way he did in that video.
What?
It feels like you could make this the series finale. Like it didn't feel like that ending didn't feel like a season finale. It felt like a series finale. Like you could just say that's the end of Grogu and Din's story. You know, they just go off helping the New Republic, you know, deal with the Imperial Remnant. Then they come back to Navarro and just chill.
Yeah, they're just chilling.
But
and I mean, they could just go to Navarro. Hey, we have some food here.
Yeah.
We got some
roof
supplies.
over our head.
A roof over our head. We got a ship if we need to go anywhere. Hey, we're fine, man.
You know, I think would have made it better if there was also a gauntlet in the background, and like Bo-Katan was sitting there beside Jin, because they developed a bond throughout the season.
Once the Great Force thing happens, you never see any other Mandalorians again.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
No, I mean like in this season.
Yeah, because this is the very end. But I know that there's a lot of people shipping Bo-Katan and Din, but Bo-Katan is a little older, but maybe Din likes older women. I'm not against it. But there's such good chemistry between Bo-Katan and Din throughout the season that I would not have been upset if they implied it at the end with, you know, the gauntlet sitting in the background beside the Naboo starfighter and Bo and Din just sitting there watching Grogu, because they become kind of like a mother and father.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm surprised like we didn't have Mommy Bo-Katan and Daddy Jin.
Yeah.
Din.
It was, people were shipping it on Twitter and social media.
Oh, well,
like,
I don't have Twitter and social media. So.
I know, but I saw it. Like, there's artwork out there. Nothing nasty. It's tasteful artwork of Din and Bo and baby Grogu as a happy family.
Yeah, it's a matter of time.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it'll be Rule 34 sooner or later. But overall, it was an okay season finale, an okay season. It had a lot of action, and it did have a beginning and a conclusion, so that's good.
Yeah, no cliffhangers.
Yeah, no cliffhangers. Even though a lot of us were expecting it, because all these shows are supposed to tie in together, and you have Ahsoka as the next show. So a lot of us thought that there would be something to allude to Ahsoka with like Admiral Thrawn or Boba Fett. Boba Fett didn't even show up.
I guess we'll see when Ahsoka comes out.
Yeah, I guess so.
But basically, after that, that's pretty much it. I mean, after talking about it and just recapping, I still think it's a 6-7.
Yeah.
Basically, 6 or 7.
I agree.
I just think the show was okay.
Yeah.
It was nothing too great like season 2, but it wasn't the worst thing ever.
No, it's not the worst thing ever. I agree entirely with that. I think it was better than the Obi-Wan miniseries, with a few exceptions.
The only good thing was just the final episode.
Yeah, the final episode with Obi-Wan versus Vader.
If you guys want to watch the Obi-Wan Kenobi, now that we're talking about it, just watch the final episode and just walk away.
And by the way, shameless plug, I did review all 6 episodes.
No, actually, you know what? If you guys want to experience the whole Obi-Wan Kenobi series, just watch Larry.
Oh yeah, from the Aeronauts.
From the Aeronauts. Yes, if you guys want to experience that, just watch Larry.
Yeah, that was good. But...
And there you go. You get everything plus humor.
Yeah. So yeah, Mandalorian was an okay third season, the weakest of the seasons. I still think the first season was really good. The only thing that puts season 2 above season 1 is the finale of season 2.
Oh yeah.
With Luke showing up to save the day and destroy all the Dark Troopers.
When people just say that CGI looks horrible.
Yeah, it could have looked better. I mean, I saw some deep fakes that looked much better, but maybe they'll next time we see Luke again. Hopefully, we see Luke and Ahsoka. We better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that maybe the problem with the season 3 finale is Favreau Filoni may have realized that they couldn't top season 2.
It was too hype.
Yeah, too hype. So they just tried to at least give it a good ending. Whether or not Gideon's finally dead, or his clone survived,
or something,
remains to be seen.
But yeah, that's pretty much that's pretty much it from my part and my review. So okay, JB's part 2. So yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything.
I think we did a pretty good job. We jumped back and forth because we were forgetting things along the way.
Oh, there was one thing we forgot to mention.
Okay.
There's this one part where Grogu gets some extra armor.
Oh yeah, the armor during a flash. Oh yeah, we forgot the flashback scene. Okay, yes. So there's a flashback scene, and the armor's talking to Grogu, and Grogu's remembering what happens to him on the night of Order 66.
Yeah. So basically, the whole flashback, you have Jar Jar Binks rescuing.
Yeah, Ahmad Best, who played Jar Jar Binks.
I know, but it's just funny you're saying it out this way so people can picture it.
I know, but it's not Jar Jar.
Oh, okay. It's the voice of Jar Jar.
I think his name is Kellyanne Beck. I think that's the name of the Jedi.
I don't remember. But basically, he gets Grogu to a safe area.
Yeah, it's a cool flashback because they've alluded to the fact that Grogu was at the Jedi Temple and he was a youngling when Order 66 went down and Vader and the 501st attacked the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
And he's one of the very few survivors.
Yeah.
And the question has been for a while now, well, who saved Grogu? How did he get out of there?
So we
now
have,
we know.
Jar Jar being saved.
Yeah, Kelly and Beck got him out of there. And like I like what they did for Ahmad Best because, you know, he's gotten so much crap over the years for playing Jar Jar. And yeah, Jar Jar was a little ridiculous in episode 1.
He said Darth Jar Jar.
He's nowhere near the worst Star Wars character, though. All you gotta do is go to the sequel trilogies, and there's quite a few that are way worse than Jar Jar.
Oh, yeah.
And I still think that Darth Jar Jar is a thing.
Misa, got you.
Yeah.
No,
Misa, Darth Jar Jar, you in big doo-doo now, Jedi Voodoo.
Yeah, and then it's just the way how it should have ended. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, with Darth Jar Jar, yeah. But it was a cool scene. I mean, there were things I felt like it was kind of rushed a little for the flashback. Was it necessary? Maybe not.
I think so.
But,
just to add something there.
Yeah, it was a good scene. And, you know, it shows, you know, him fleeing Coruscant with Grogu. But the question, though, is, like, the guards that help Kelly and Beck and Grogu escape were Naboo guards. And who is supposed to be, like, the senator that the Naboo guards are protecting in this time period?
Padme?
So why wasn't Palpatine sus about that?
He forgot.
It kind of forgot. It's like, you think he would have gotten reports back, yeah, one Jedi escaped with a youngling chancellor, because at the time he was still chancellor, even though he was going to become emperor.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean a Jedi escaped with a youngling? Who helped him? I believe it was Naboo guards. What? But I'm from Naboo.
It's just funny.
I think the only way I could justify this is...
Is he actually from Naboo?
Yeah, he was a senator from Naboo.
Oh.
Yeah.
But was he from Naboo?
If you go by the Darth Plagueis book, which is not canon, he was from Naboo. He was from a wealthy family, the Palpatines, and ultimately he kills off his entire family while he's an apprentice to Darth Plagueis.
Okay.
But that's not really canon anymore, even though I think it should be canon, because it gives a really good backstory for Palpatine. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I think the real reason why he doesn't, quote-unquote, punish Padme for what her Naboo guards did, now that that's canon, the guards helping Kelly and Beck and Grogu escape, is because he knew how important she was to Anakin. And if he did anything to Padme, you know, his new apprentice would probably turn on him right then and there.
Probably, yeah. So I guess that's why?
Yeah, so that's the only way I can logically explain why Padme did end up being summoned to the Chancellor's office.
Yeah.
After her own guards assisted a Jedi and a youngling to escape.
Well, yeah, but...
I mean, I realize they were probably acting under the orders of Captain Typho. You know, the dude with the one eye patch?
Yeah.
He took over for Captain Panada.
Okay.
God, I know too much Star Wars stuff.
You do. It's so weird. I'm like, what? Who is this guy?
Anyways, but Captain Panada was her captain in episode 1.
Jeez.
But I think Typho is like Panada's nephew, but Panada becomes a Moff in the Empire.
You do know too
I
much.
know too much. Okay, anyways.
You do know too much.
All right, but so that's the end of this Mandalorian Season 3 review. I would rank it dead last.
Dead last.
Yeah.
1 and 2 were better.
Yeah. It was definitely better than Obi-Wan miniseries.
And Book of Boba Fett.
And Book of Boba Fett. The only reason why Book of Boba Fett was good was because of 2 episodes of The Mandalorian that should have been part of this to begin with.
Yeah. But, I mean, Book of Boba Fett has some good scenes.
Yeah, I do like Boba, but I just don't like some of the things they did to him. And I think I talked about that in my review of Boba Fett. So yeah.
I think my favorite part about that series was the whole spinning around trick and then shooting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. The scooters?
Yeah, the scooter.
Scooter Brothers.
Yeah, that was so dumb.
Yeah.
Let me spin around real quick. I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
And I did like the fact they brought back Cad Bane. But, yeah, I agree with you. I think, like, they could have made Cad Bane look a little bit better.
Yeah, he looked too light blue.
And he needed a bigger hat.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's pretty much, we always get out of topic and we always...
Yeah.
So, let's just wrap it up.
Okay, yeah. So, anyways, Thank you so much, everyone, for watching my review of Mandalorian season. Yes, because you're part of this now. Our review of Mandalorian season 3. If you're interested in my review of season 1 or 2 of Mandalorian, or my reviews of Boba Fett, or my reviews of Andor, which, by the way, amazing show. I'm looking forward to season 2 in 2024.
Eventually.
Yes. We'll also review Ahsoka, hopefully. I don't think we're going to bother with Bad Batch because I don't think I did season 1 of Bad Batch, but oh well. Anyways, for all my Star Wars reviews, check out my Star Wars playlist, and may the Force be with you.
Bye-bye.